Welcome to the Animal Book Project Part 5. In this tutorial we're going to cover essentially how to basically put all this together through painting. So I've done a little bit of paint work on its own layer here. I can show you just by clicking off the layer here. You can kind of see all the little areas. So it's starting to blend now together. It's not finished, but I want to share with you, the different techniques on how to do this. The one thing I want to do though, if you notice the whiskers on the right side, hit the animal's right side, needs to come out further than the plane here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the canvas size. So I'm going to go to Image, go down to Canvas Size, and I'm going to click right here. This will allow extra footage to go on the left side, which is where I want it to be. So I'm going to increase the width. I'm just going to type in a value of, let's try 13. I think we'll do it. And basically just click OK. And if we scroll down here, I have a gray background here, which then I can just free transform by hitting Control T and then just grabbing this corner and kind of stretching it out and then hit Enter to accept. And then I'm going to scroll back up to the top paint layer here, and this is where I'm going to paint. So let's do this. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Zoom in a little bit, and you'll start to see again, I'm going to turn off the paint layer just so you can kind of see what's going on here. I'm keeping the brush strokes very, very small, so anywhere from 1 to 5 point. I'm using the standard chalk brush here. So if I go to the brushes here, basically that's the one I'm using. If I click on brush shape to tip, it says chalk number 50 here. It's got transfer applied, so transfer is set to pin pressure, shape dynamics is set to pin pressure, and smoothing is applied. And I am using a Wacom tablet here. So actually a Cintiq, I take it back, a Cintiq 24. So usually I use my a Wacom, but this instance I have the Cintiq. So what I'm going to do is kind of reposition here, and I'm going to rotate a little bit just to make it a little bit easier for me to draw the strokes. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the color of this white sort of whiskers here, and then I can start to, basically paint out this white whisker here. And you can see how easy that is to kind of make this really come out with the Cintiq's ability to do a lot of pin pressure. It's really easy to do and give you that kind of variety of thick to thin, and it's working pretty good. I have the default settings at the top here. I didn't even increase the smoothing, so I figured I'd just give it a try and see how my brush strokes work, and it's been working out pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and have a few extra sort of hairs over here. Now what I can do is come down to other areas in here, and basically I'll zoom in, or actually, yeah, zoom in here. I'm going to continue the fur here. I noticed that some areas I felt like the fur didn't quite come out far enough. So not only can you blend the areas, but you can also like literally paint in here and add more fur. Just by touch. You can see here I'm just kind of painting away. Now if I do want to blend any areas, I can select different colors by holding the Alt key and then click and sample colors and basically just stroke in different directions to kind of create the feeling of fur. Fur is really easy for the most part. You just kind of have to follow like a directional of the animal. Some furs are a little bit more trickier. Let me show you. The giraffe fur here is very smooth, so you kind of want to follow a straight up and down kind of direction. So if I sample from here and kind of paint across, I'm just kind of trying not to vary the strokes in any way. Where most of the other furs, I'm kind of varying the strokes. This one I'm kind of almost like a weave, almost like a pattern here, just kind of weaving back and forth and sort of blending in. I didn't do much with the tail in terms of that. I did do a little bit in the wing here. So what I did is I sampled some of the colors here and kind of added it in here. And I did use the mixer brush, which I'll just show you if I click here, go down to mixer. And I reduced the settings, so by default it's 80%. I really reduced this quite a bit. And I actually swapped out for the different brush. I used the brush tip. I used the soft brush, which actually it is defaulting to. So that's the correct brush. I'm just kind of increase the size a little bit and basically just kind of tap. And the tapping will actually sort of blend through the different brushes. And if I hold the Alt key, I can kind of sample for my color and kind of tap along here and kind of blur it around. So it gets that more soft feeling. So I wouldn't use that mixer brush too much though, it gets overused quite a bit. I just like the standard brush and basically, paint my little strokes here wherever I want. So again, it's kind of fun to kind of like go in and like add some additional hair somewhere, anywhere you want. If you want some random little, kind of hairs coming out of the ear here or something like that. A couple areas where I found I needed it was in the leg here. I needed to sort of blend this area together, so I was spending a lot of time kind of sampling the colors and very gently kind of just brushing across, almost like a cross hatch kind of pattern to kind of blend out the bend here that I did using the warp tool. And so yeah, I was able to do that and did a little bit of work over here. But when I zoom out, I'll go ahead and zoom out here again. If I look at it at this size, you're not going to notice many of those brush strokes from this size here. I'll go ahead and rotate it back to normal view. There we go. You can tell that a lot of the brushwork is done there, but you can't quite see, the details because it's, farther away. And that's what I was talking about when we reduce the size of this image ultimately. So I'm going to spend a little more time adding some more brushwork, but basically that's the trick. I can increase the opacity of some of the brushes working here, maybe go over the whiskers a little bit. It is against a gray background, so it is kind of showing up a little bit darker than it normally would if it was against a different color. But until next time, we'll see you soon in the Animal Combo book project. Cheers!